Raider Nation, what's going on? You guys are watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I got 5 big overreactions after the Raiders' 32-13 loss over the Bengals, and that really kind of ticked me off yesterday's game. Something that hopefully should put a smile on your face is this awesome deal I got going on with today's sponsor, Black Sunday Shop. The holidays, y'all, they're right around the corner, and if you want, you can go to blacksundayshop.com and you can save up to 70% off on some awesome Raiders gear, which I'll tell you about here in a little bit. All right, so what do I do here on these overreaction shows? I give you the 5 biggest, the 5 top trending stories that I see on Instagram, Twitter, the internet in general, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. We're going to be talking about Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, and at the very end of today's show, I'm going to tell you whether or not I think the Raiders should ultimately clean house after this season. The first story coming up, should the Raiders bench Derek Carr? In the third quarter, maybe it was the fourth quarter of the game up against the Bengals, I said it's time to bench DC. Put him on the bench, put Marcus Mariota in. Now, the issue is this. There's a lot of people out there thinking that, all right, I think I was going with you need to put Mariota in from the get-go. Now, a lot of people are talking about that because, let's face it, he struggled a little bit. He was 19 of 27 for 215 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Obviously, not what you're looking for. Also, pretty interesting things that head coach Rich Bisaccia had to say about Derek Carr, putting the blame on the execution of the offense, not the offensive play calling. And if you actually watch what Bisaccia said today, he kind of threw DC under the bus a little bit. Here's also the thing. Carr's had 4 straight games with an interception, and the turnovers are starting to pile up. Game after game after game. And realistically, when you come after the bye, I get it, you lost your top receiver in Henry Ruggs. And as much as I loved watching Ruggs on the field, if you're sitting here telling me that the reason why the Raiders' offense has gone from being really good to really bad was just one player in Henry Ruggs, I'm going to respectfully disagree. I'm going to put it on the play calling. I'm going to put it on the leader, Derek Carr. So 4 straight games with an interception for DC. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Actually, probably like $19.9 million next offseason, because that's how much he's making. And I'm going to make this the pinned comment of today's video. So every single person that comes across this video on the Raiders Report, I want you to answer the pinned comment. Should the Raiders bench Derek Carr? If you're like, yes, Mitch, they absolutely should, I want you to go ahead and type B for bench. If you think they shouldn't, they should start him, go ahead and type S for start. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that you still start Derek Carr. It's not time to totally bench him. And this is where that tweet that I sent out got taken out of context a little bit. At that current time in that game, when the game was 100% over, yes, put Derek Carr on the bench. Let's see what we have in Marcus Mariota. That also gives the Dallas Cowboys something to chew on, because you might be able to go ahead and mix something up for Thursday football on Thanksgiving. But here's the thing. Greg Olson, Rich Bisaccia absolutely deserve some blame too. I was woefully unimpressed with the way that the offense was able to not move the football. I thought the red zone play calling continued to stunk. I was wondering, what the hell are we doing? I mean, early on in that game, was I the only one wondering why are the Raiders offense trying to move east and west and not north and south? I mean, the amount of passes that were literally sideline to sideline. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Move the ball down the field. And as much as I'm not really sure I miss John Gruden's coaching whatsoever, I do miss Gruden being able to lay into his team, being able to lay into guys when they get it wrong. Bisaccia, he's too afraid to go ahead and do that. Now, I get it. The Raiders are 5-5, and it's been a shit show the past 3 weeks. But you know what? I'm going to continue to say this. Win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. And if you guys agree with me on that, if you still bleed silver and black, then please go ahead and subscribe. I'm amazed on the amount of people like, oh, the season's over. Even if the season is over, I'm not going to give up on the team. I'm not going to give up on the nation, and you guys better not either. So if you still want free Raiders videos, you want content, subscribe. I do have to tell you, though, because I have family coming in tomorrow and because of Thanksgiving weekend, I'm not going to have a normal Raiders live show like I usually do, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Just going to have one normal video, so don't yell at me too much. All right, let's go to the next story here. If I don't think that the Raiders should bench Derek Carr, well, what about Mariota? Should he get more snaps going forward? Week 12, should he appear in a game? Usually, I'm always like sitting here, oh, for Chucky heads this, for Chucky heads that. I'll tell you what my personal opinion is here on Marcus, because the fact that he has only 3 carries, I believe, this entire season, yes, he's got 3 carries for 41 yards. It's confusing. And absolutely, he deserves more snaps going forward because the Raiders' offense has to change it up. They have to change it up. Derek Carr, he's playing scared, and I'm not really afraid to say that, and I think a lot of people that watched that game yesterday, that watched the game against the Chiefs, that watched the game against the Giants, he got flustered. And if you're like, oh, Mitch, you're just some guy on YouTube, I don't like always taking what I hear from rivals seriously, but if the Chargers players are saying all you got to do is rattle Derek Carr and then he plays scared, the Chiefs said it the week before that, sometimes when you hear all this smoke, you have to believe that there's a fire behind it. So here's a fire that started on Twitter, and I posted a poll. Who should the Raiders start at quarterback up against the Cowboys? This poll right now is over 2,000 votes. If you haven't got your votes in, head on over to Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365, and please let me know what you're thinking. 42% of Raider Nation that follow me on Twitter think that they would start Derek Carr. 58% of the people say it's Mariota. Now, I'm going to respectfully disagree with that 58 and saying that I still would start DC simply because I just think he's the better quarterback. However, I do think that Mariota deserves more snaps. So what do you guys think here? Should Mariota get more snaps going forward? Y for yes or N for no? Please go ahead and let me know down in the comments. And if you are going to type your Y for yes, maybe make a projection. Are you thinking 5 more snaps going forward? Would you get him in 10? I mean, Bisaccia literally said today in his conference that the pros of playing Marcus, you mix it up a little bit. He's an athletic quarterback. You know what kind of cons he came up with for playing him? He didn't come up with one. He literally said there are no cons. So, yes, Marcus Mariota needs more snaps. I'm going to go ahead and type my Y for yes, and I hope all y'all too. And this has nothing to do with me hating on DC. It's just you have to be able to mix it up a little bit. He's got 3 carries this year, 2 first downs. Sure, he ended up getting injured, and that's obviously something that I'm going to worry about. But when Mariota comes on the field, the defense has to go ahead and respect it. And one of the reasons why I was sitting here earlier saying, no, it's Carr's team, it's Carr's team, it's Carr's team. It's still Carr's team. However, 3 straight weeks you've scored under 16 points. In today's NFL, for you to put up that lackluster of an effort on the offensive side of the football, mix it up a little bit. Because if you keep trying to do the exact same thing over and over and over again, that's literally the definition of insanity. Something else that's pretty insane to me. I can't understand why this offense is so bad in the red zone. I mean, shout out to the Raiders defense, who we'll get to in a second. But the Raiders put up 13 points yesterday, and 3 of them basically came on the back because the Raiders defense forced a fumble. But you're talking about 51.35 red zone touchdown percentage this season. That's 28th in the NFL. The Raiders have been one of the worst red zone teams in the NFL for 3 straight years. The only common denominator in that, and the only common denominator in that, is Derek Carr. Does he deserve 100% of the blame? No. But does Mariota deserve more snaps going forward? Yes, absolutely. Which is why I'm still sitting here saying I still think Carr should be the starter. Why? He's a better quarterback than Marcus. And sometimes I'm amazed on how often people take offense to that. But Carr is. He is a better quarterback than Mariota. And if Mariota would be out there on the field for every single snap, defenses would start to learn his tendencies. Hell, I actually sometimes laugh how many people come out of the woodwork. They're like, oh, they blame Carr for a loss, blame Carr for a loss, blame Carr for a loss. Do we not remember last season when Mariota came in that game for the Chargers? He was really good. He was. He was fun to watch being able to run the football. The Chargers offense was moving, but we also lost the game, and he threw a horrible fourth-quarter interception, which then led to the Chargers winning the game. Yet, nobody wants to talk about that because I guarantee you this, if Derek Carr would have been in that exact same situation where he throws an interception in the fourth quarter, everyone would be like, oh, DC sucks, this and that, this and that. Has DC played well? No. Does Mariota deserve more snaps? Yes. Should the Raiders bench Derek Carr and not play him a single snap for Mariota? The answer is no. Now, I'm going to calm down a little bit and give a major shout-out to today's sponsor, Black Sunday Shopping. If you use code MITCH at checkout, we're going to get you a free Raiders pin. Now, if you're wondering what that link is, don't worry, we'll show it up on screen. I'll also put it down in the comments and in the description. It's blacksundayshop.com. Raiders gear up to 70%. So if you saw one of those T-shirts, if you saw the hat that Charles Woodson's been repping, yes, it is in fact from Black Sunday Shop. But I'm going to tell you all this right now. This deal's going to go on for a week, but it's going to go quick. And what do I mean by that? If you see 70% off and you can basically take care of all your Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday shopping with a click of a button, I'm telling you, you get $200 worth of Black Sunday stuff. They're going to throw in a whole bunch of free stuff. Guys, you're going to be able to stuff stockings for a very long time. 70% off, blacksundayshop.com, and tell them that I sent you. Use promo code Mitch for a free Raiders pin. Also, if you like the shirt I got on, it's from Black Sunday Shop as well. A lot of great hoodies, hats, awesome accessories. All right, let's go to the next story here. Were the referees terrible in this game? This one, again, is another big-time talking point simply because usually NFL officiating against the Raiders for whatever reason definitely struggles. And I'm never the person, and I actually hate people that are like, oh, the refs are the reason why the Raiders lost. And I heard it way too often this past week when they beat when the Raiders lost to the Chiefs. You don't lose to the Chiefs 41-14 and blame it on the refs. Before I give you guys my grade, I want you to grade the refs this game up against the Cincinnati Bengals, A, B, C, D, or F. One of my major talking points in my post-game reaction show was, in fact, the NFL officiating. The Bengals had 1 penalty for 5 yards. The Raiders, 7 penalties for 77 yards. Now, my grade for the officiating was a big old fat F. They absolutely failed. And I'm not going to be the guy that comes on here and says the Raiders lost the game because of the officiating. However, I will definitely say the very first touchdown that the Cincinnati Bengals scored was definitely on the officiating, and I tweeted it out. The way that the game was going, it literally seemed like the refs bet on Cincinnati. Like, the amount of calls, the amount of ticky-tacky, NFL is soft, let's just change it into the flag football league. It was like, what the hell is happening here? The hit that Brandon FACYSON had, which basically set up the Cincinnati Bengals' first touchdown, that was a joke. What do you want an NFL player to do? He literally put his shoulder to shoulder pad as he was diving. If you want these NFL athletes to not have any contact whatsoever, let's go. Put some flags on them. They're going to take less money because it's going to be less entertaining, so put some flags on them. Because that very first touchdown makes it 10-6, and now you see the Raiders kind of got deflated a little bit, but the Raiders were able to get the Bengals off the field 2 times, maybe even 3 times that entire drive. So yes, I am going to put a lot of blame on the officiating because it was a terrible, disgraceful performance, and I'm sick and tired of the way that the NFL refs have been doing their whole gig this entire season. If the NFL is going to penalize players for doing things dumb, the NFL should go out and penalize referees who have shitty performances like what you saw yesterday, and also that guy who hip-checked that Bears player. Get him out of here. Let's go to the next story here. It's around the defense. Is it legit? And it's almost kind of weird, right? I always sit here and I wonder, why can't the Raiders have a good offense and a good defense? Early on in the season, the offense clicking on all cylinders. Last season, Raiders, in my personal opinion, had a top 5 offense. They were that good. Now the defense is like really balling out, and the offense can't put up any points. So here's my question to y'all. Do the Raiders at this current juncture have a top 10 defense? I want you to go ahead and type 10 for top 10, or I want you to type N 10 for not top 10. Now, some people are going to go ahead and they're probably going to get a little bit upset with me. And, you know, that's totally fine. I think at the end of the day, you know, we're family. It's part of the gig. People are going to get mad. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're close to being top 10, but I'm not going to say that they are top 10. And it's simply because you have to be able to show up every single week to be considered a top 10 defense. I don't see teams giving up 41 points against the Chiefs the way that we saw Week 10. That's not going to happen. But some people are going to hunt the box score. They're going to be like, oh, my God, the Raiders gave up 32 points. If you hear anybody talking shit on our defense, the Raiders' defense played great. In fact, I can make the argument that was actually one of their best defensive performances that I've seen from a Raiders squad in a very long time. The reason why they gave up points, they were gassed, y'all. They were on the field for 37 minutes and 20 seconds, and most of that time, I mean, realistically, it's because the Raiders' offense was out on the field late in the game because of garbage time, but the Raiders' defense allowed 19 points in the fourth quarter. 19 points, 13 going into the fourth, and a touchdown was because of the NFL officiating decided to say, well, we're going to bet on the Bengals instead of betting on the Raiders here. So from top to bottom, I was so impressed by Gus Bradley, so impressed by the Raiders defense, and I just wanted to be able to show them some love because there's a lot of shit going on right now on Twitter and Instagram ripping on this team, and the defense absolutely does not deserve it. Now, if you guys want to hit me up with any of your top trending topics, if you want to give me your 2 cents on anything I talked about today, please don't be afraid to hit me up on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, and to the dude, Jonathan, you won Raiders tickets. Check out the Raiders vs. Bengals stream. You have yet to claim them yet. You got a few more hours to do it. So if your name's Jonathan, you're watching the show, and you're like, oh, shit, I bought those tickets from the Black Hole. Yeah, you won tickets. You got to hit me up, though. Send me a screenshot at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, the last story here is this. Are the Raiders going to be cleaning house after this season? This is going to continue to be a top trending topic. This has been a story, something that I've talked about for a very long time on this show, literally since John Gruden was fired or stepped down. But what do y'all think? Will the Raiders clean house in 2022? So after this season, I want you to type CH for clean house, Or I want you to type keep, or K for keep, that you think they're going to keep Bisaccia. You think they're going to keep Greg Olson. They're going to keep Gus Bradley. I'm genuinely curious what you guys have to say. Now, I don't have a broom near me, and maybe I should have got one, but yeah, it's going to be time to clean the house after the season. The only way that they don't clean house, okay? The only way they don't do it, and I put yes, and the nation's going to be bringing the brooms here, because after this performance, the amount of people are like, all right, Gus Bradley, he's the only one they want to stay, or Greg Olson, he's got to go, Bisaccia, he's got to go, and it's really that. Now, this next thing that I'm going to talk about, the fact that it's going to be Bisaccia, Olson, and Gus are going to be gone, the reason why it is this, and I've said this 150,000 times already on the Raiders Report, when a new head coach comes in, they bring in their own staff. I wanted to be able to give credit to the Raiders defense. Gus Bradley, he has done a phenomenal job. In fact, when you see how bad the Raiders defense was last year and how good they are this year, I really truly believe Gus Bradley deserves to be in that conversation for coordinator of the year. The other issue is this, though. That new head coach is going to bring in his own staff. So you're going to see a lot of weird things going on in the offseason. We're going to be keeping you up to date, so just be prepared for a very, very clean house. Now, here's the other thing. In terms of cleaning house, you also got to figure out what you're going to do with Derek Carr, your quarterback. And really what it comes down to, in my personal opinion, you got three things. You have option one. The Raiders try to go out and they try to trade DC. And for everyone like, oh, why would somebody want Carr? If there's an NFL team out there that thinks that they can win now, Carr has shown this. When he has a complete team around him, like what you saw earlier on in this season, he can compete and he can look pretty damn good. Plus, $19.9 million on a contract. Remember, Phillip Rivers just last season played for $25 million. That was a deal. Somebody really could give up a second-round pick or something like that for DC. Here's option two. The Raiders decide to cut Derek Carr because he's got a $0 million dead cap hit. Maybe nobody wants to trade him. Maybe nobody wants him. Okay, then you cut him. You move on. Next one here. Number three, you let Carr play in 2022, and then you let him walk in 2023. So you're like, all right, I don't like any of the other options out there at quarterback. He's going to play 2022, and then we'll let him walk away in 2023 off into the sunset. So what would you guys do with DC? Option one, I want you to type one. Option two, type two. Option three, I know what it says on screen. I can't type. Just go ahead and type three. Which option would you do for Derek Carr out of all the options that I just laid out there? And for me, I get it. It's my show. I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I'm going to go with option one, and I'm going to go with option three. Option one is this. You trade DC, you get some draft capital. Okay. Or you go option three, which is actually probably my favorite one, where if there's a quarterback in the draft, you want to go ahead and get him. He can learn behind Derek Carr. Cool. Gravy. Now, the only other way that I don't think that should happen is if somebody else like Russell Wilson's out there, Aaron Rodgers is out there, you can bring somebody in who can also be that absolute dude in free agency. And if you can't do that, go back to option three, draft a quarterback, let him learn behind Derek Carr, and then give that new quarterback the keys to the car going forward for the Las Vegas Raiders. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Remember, not going to be live tomorrow because of Thanksgiving, my dad coming into town. I know we're 5-5, but hopefully it gets better. Hopefully we're going to be feasting up against the Cowboys. Don't let me down. I'm going to be back for a live show Thursday, Raiders-Cowboys watch party. So subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss a thing.